wanted to see me about my NCOER?
Yes, First Sergeant, come on in. Please close the door and have a seat. First Sergeant, can I get you something to drink? I want to sit down and go over your NCOER. I don't think there will be any surprises in it, but this is a two-way discussion, so take a good look at it and let me know of anything you think I may have missed. I know the Battalion Command Sergeant Major will be getting with you also, since I have discussed this with him. You will obviously be meeting separately with the Battalion Commander to go over his part.
Yes, ma'am. Let me grab my coffee, and I'll read it over. Ma'am, I definitely have some concerns with your ratings that I want to discuss with you. I'm actually surprised by what you wrote, and I have some major concerns about it.
Okay, and I want you to make sure to bring your questions up if I don't cover the areas you have questions on. Unless you have spotted something in the administrative data or the duty description, I want to start with Part 4.
I didn't see any errors or issues with the duty description since it is exactly as we agreed on from my support form.
In Block 4, Part A, the Army Values section, you received a yes in all areas, because I think that across the rating period you have shown that you support and live by the Army values. However, in the last several months, I've seen some changes for the worse in the way you treat other soldiers. We've talked about this several times, and I haven't seen much improvement. That is why I rated you as a needs some improvement in the leadership block, Block 4, Part D, and included a bullet about your harsh criticism of soldiers. I don't think that you have treated the soldiers in the way they should be treated. I know you think you are being fair, but I don't see it that way.
Ma'am, I don't know how you can say that. I have always been fair to the soldiers, and I treat them exactly the way they have earned.
First Sergeant, I have told you repeatedly that you are being too hard on the soldiers when they make a mistake. In fact, we discussed it at your last quarterly performance counseling. Each time you gave me some excuse, but agreed that you would work on it. You said you would take corrective action, but then you started back into the same pattern of berating the soldiers when they made minor mistakes. For example, just last week, when Specialist Watson came to the formation missing part of his equipment, you criticized and humiliated him in front of all of the other soldiers, and then you repeatedly harassed him about it for several days afterward. At the formation, you just verbally jumped on Watson, despite the fact that the platoon sergeant was already making an on-the-spot correction. You have been thoroughly counseled on this, but it does not seem to have sunk in.
Captain, I've been in the military a long time, and I know what soldiers need. If I am hard on them, it is because they deserve it for screwing up. The current soldiers are not disciplined, and it is my job to ensure that they understand who is in charge and that they need to do things right. I treat all the soldiers the same as long as they perform to standard. If they don't, then they get what they earned.
First Sergeant, I don't think you understand what I am saying. I know that you care for the soldiers and are looking out for their welfare, but the way you are doing it has started to border on demeaning. I agree that the soldiers have to be corrected when they make an error, but you are starting to get angry when you are doing it. I have asked you repeatedly if everything was all right, and you have indicated everything was fine, but you seem to be letting your temper get the better of you lately, and it has been noticed by all.
Yes, ma'am, everything is fine, and I don't understand where you are coming from. I have done nothing to the soldiers that wasn't standard practice in the other units I have been in, and believe me, they know the meaning of discipline.
First Sergeant, this is not a Ranger or Special Forces unit. And even if it was, I don't believe that we would be treating our soldiers the way you tore into Harris the other day. Yes, he made a mistake, but his platoon leader was handling the situation just fine until you intervened and started going overboard. I would say it was an isolated incident, but we both know that isn't true. You seem to be doing this sort of thing more frequently, and we need to get it fixed. Are you sure that nothing is wrong?
Ma'am, I'm fine. It is just that the soldiers are not performing up to my expectations. I'm hard on them because I have seen what happens when you make mistakes in combat and your buddies pay for it. I will not let my soldiers get killed by somebody else's screw-ups.
First Sergeant, I know that you are trying to fix the mistakes. So are all of the other NCOs and officers in the company. But while they are doing it, they are not losing their temper. They are staying professional at all times and correcting the errors without demeaning the soldiers. You seem to have forgotten that lately, and it is showing. Right now, your behavior is affecting just this one evaluation. But if you don't start turning it around and changing your behavior, I am not sure how much longer you will be the First Sergeant. Are you willing to make the necessary changes and put this behind you?
Ma'am, I understand, and while I may not agree with everything you have said, it does give me some food for thought. I know I have been having a lot more arguments with the family than I used to. It just seems that since I've been back from the last deployment, they want to do things their own way and ignore what I have to say. I then come into the unit and then see the soldiers making mistakes, and I start getting mad. I will work on it.
First Sergeant, I wasn't aware of the family issues you have been having, but maybe you need to see about getting some help. As you admit it yourself, this has started to affect your job performance. You are an excellent First Sergeant in all other performance areas, as the rest of your NCOER demonstrates, but you have to fix this. I am willing to work with you in the future, but the current rating stands, based on your performance.
Yes, ma'am. I will work on it, and I understand that I earned the rating you gave me. I am not happy about it, but I will work on it in the future.
First Sergeant, I am glad to hear that, but your actions are going to have to demonstrate it. I would like both of us to sit down later and come up with a written plan of action on what you can do to fix this for the next rating.
Yes, ma'am, and I will be sure to work on it. I've invested too much time in my career to throw it all away.
First Sergeant, this has not been easy, but I believe you when you say you are going to fix the problem.
Ma'am, I understand, and I won't let you down again.
Good. I want you to come back to me tomorrow morning with a recommended plan on a way to move forward so we can discuss it. We need to set some goals. Also, as part of the plan, I want you to set up an appointment with mental health. I think it is a good idea to see if the anger you're feeling is related to your deployment. I want to help you get through this. Now, is there anything else before I let you go?
No, ma'am, and thanks.
Now get back to work, and I will see you tomorrow with that plan.